You're in the right place.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight in the Shrine Room we have Dave, Bry, Gianne, Meet and Kaspa, and joining us on Zoom we have Beth and Chris. And I'll hand over to Kaspa.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. These beautiful white flowers next to me have got a very striking scent, and they're called honesty. And I was saying to Satya before we came in, that would make a good segue into a Dharma talk. Actually, I'm not going to talk about honesty, although it is a very good virtue. But I thought if I waited till next week, the flowers might be different, then I couldn't make that joke. I've been thinking about spiritual mentorship, and I don't have any pre-formed conclusions, and I don't expect to get to any conclusions in this 5 or 10 minutes. But it's on my mind because I've been chatting with a friend in the US who's a Zen Buddhist teacher who knows that I separated from my own Buddhist teacher a while back. And today he wrote suggesting, oh, here's somebody I know. Maybe he would be a good spiritual mentor for you. So I will follow that up. It just kind of made me think about mentorship and discipleship. And we know it can go badly wrong. You see that plenty of times in the Buddhist world. But there is also a value to having someone that you can take your words to, who will listen to you and bring some of their experience to you. Years ago, I was on a training course with Nick Totten. Maybe I just read this in his book. I did go on a course with him. I can't remember whether he said it or whether I just read it. But the point is, he was describing what happens when a therapist and a client come into relationship with each other. And that it isn't just the therapist and the client, but the therapist and the therapist's network of support and their friends and family and history, a whole system, a whole spider web arriving in the room. And the same is true for the client. They don't come on their own, they come as part of a huge system of friends and family and their own history. And the thing that happens in a space, one way of understanding it, is that these two systems meet and interact, not just two individuals. So there's something complex that happens. All of it's like the accumulated experience of that lifetime is almost beyond one individual. So coming into relationship with a mentor is like this. You're coming into relationship with the whole system of their life and their history. And that this is going to be a very awkward mixed metaphor, I suppose. It can shine a light on things that you hadn't seen before and pull at threads in your own stories that you hadn't seen before. And different people in different configurations, the same, if I go and see several different therapists, they get curious about different parts of the story that I tell them because their own history is different. So there's something special and unique about each encounter. And there's a real value in that, being met by another living being. Particularly with a living being who has got more of a particular sort of experience. If I want to learn how to do picture framing, I go and learn from a master picture framer, for example. Well, personally, I would go on YouTube, but there might be more value in going to a master picture frame. And then I was also thinking of a story I once heard. I think it's a Sufi story, but don't quote me on that, and I'll probably get some of the details wrong. But there are two experienced spiritual teachers at different ends of the country, and they both feel some need or some lack or some longing in their spiritual practice. And they hear about the other's reputation and think, oh, I will go and be their disciple for a while. Maybe this is even something that really happened. And then somewhere in the middle of this country, they come across each other, they meet, maybe in the same pub halfway in the middle of the journey, I don't know. And one of them says, my name is such and such. I'm looking for this other person. I want to be their disciple. And the other one, who is holding the same thought in his head, oh, I was looking for you and was going to be your disciple, holds back and says, oh, okay, I'll be your teacher for a while. And when I heard this story, it was presented as a missed opportunity. It was like, oh, what if they'd both been willing to make themselves vulnerable and say, well, we were both looking for each other to learn from each other. That's another model of spiritual friendship, isn't it? And then there's a phrase from the Bible that comes to mind. When two or more are gathered in my name, then I'll appear. And this is the sense that in shared prayer or worship, in communion with another living being, it's easier for the divine to appear. And there's nothing about the nature of that friendship or connection. It doesn't have to be a priest and a congregation member, just two people coming together to practice together. We would say the Buddha becomes the third person. This is like whatever the talk equivalent of a collage is, when I'm just pasting little bits in different places. There's not really a beginning and a middle and an end. And I'm also thinking of the experience of looking into the eye of a non-human creature and how profound that can be. And that something sometimes is transmitted in that some wisdom or caring or something that changes us. Maybe just in that moment it grounds us, but sometimes it can be profoundly life-altering to look into the eye of another living being that isn't human and to see intelligence there. Maybe that can be a kind of spiritual mentorship as well. And the common thread, of course, between all of these things is the element of goodwill, of loving kindness. The teacher wants the disciple to flower. The disciple wants to support the teacher's flowering. Two friends want what's best for each other. One person coming and saying Nembutsu in front of the Buddha has a sense of being, maybe occasionally has a sense of the Buddha's wish for the best for them. So maybe this isn't really a talk about mentorship. It's a talk about spiritual friendship. Friendship with humans, with places, with non-humans, with the Buddha, who have your best interests at heart. This is the whole of the spiritual life, the Buddha said. Spiritual friendship is the whole of the spiritual life. Namo Amitabha. 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 For refuge, I go to the Buddha.
For refuge, I go to the Buddha.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
For refuge, I go to the Dharma.
For refuge, I go to the Dharma.
Namo Dhammaya.
Namo Dhamma.
For refuge, I go to the Sangha.
For refuge, I go to the Sangha.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sangha.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not take life.
I pray that I may not take life.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not steal.
I pray that I may not steal.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not fall into sexual misconduct.
I pray that I may not fall into sexual misconduct.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not fall into wrong speech.
I pray that I may not fall into wrong speech.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may avoid intoxication.
I pray that I may avoid intoxication. Innumerable as sentient beings,
We vow to save them all.
inexhaustible are deluded passion.
We vow to transform them all.
Immeasurable are the Dharma teachings.
We vow to master them all.
Infinity is the Buddha's way.
We vow to fulfill it completely. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. So we'll finish with that verse. Blessed by Amitabha's light, may we care for all living things and the holy earth. Thanks, everybody. In a moment.
Chris and
Huh? What did you say?
hi, Chris and Beth. Oh, stop with you.